Good morning, students. Today we are going to continue with the chapter Nutrition in Living Organisms, Animals, and Man. And in the previous topic, we had discussed about the structure and function of stomach. But today we are going to go through the small intestine, liver, pancreas, and large intestine. Students, in this beta G, after finishing the topic, you will be able to describe the structure of intestine and liver, pancreas and villi, and you'll be able to state the role or functions of different parts associated with small intestine and large intestine. So let's go through them. First of all, small intestine. Beta small intestine, it is around about 6 to 7 meters long, narrow tube, and though it is a long tube, but even then it is called a small intestine because its diameter is smaller in comparison to large intestine. And 95% of human digestion completes here. The main associated glands that help in the completion of digestion are liver. Number one, this is the liver, pancreas, and intestinal glands which are present in the small intestine. Beta G, liver secretes bile juice, pancreas secretes pancreatic juice, and small intestine secretes intestinal juice. Let's go through them one by one. First of all, beta G, liver. Liver is the largest gland of human body. If you can look at this diagram very carefully, this maroonish color structure is called as liver, which is roughly triangular in shape, and its weight is 1.5 kilogram. It secretes bile juice. It makes a special digestive juice combination called as bile juice. That liquid bile juice is stored here in this greenish colored structure called as gallbladder. It is stored into the gallbladder, and through this duct it sends the bile juice into the duodenum, which is the very first part of small intestine. Beta G, after this, the secretion of bile juice, we should be considering its function first. Bile juice, why do we need that? Actually, the bile juice mainly help in the digestion of fats, as it breaks the fats into fatty acids and glycerols, and second major function is it gives color to the waste matter, which is known as feces in our body. Bile juice breaks the large complex lipids, which are commonly called as fats, into fatty acids and glycerols. You take ice creams, burgers, and junk food, and the whole of the pressure of digestion of these things goes on the liver, as it has to make bile juice in large amount to digest all the fats into fatty acids and glycerols. But a second major organ that helps in digestion is pancreas. Let's go through it. This is the pancreas. But pancreas is this yellow shaped structure is the pancreas. Uh, this is the second largest gland in human body after liver. First is liver, second is pancreas, and it gives pancreatic juice. It plays a major role in our body as it helps in digestion of food. How? Let's go through that. It's a yellow shaped structure present just below the stomach, and it digests the main structures like carbohydrates into simple sugars, proteins into amino acids, and fats into fatty acids. Carbohydrates are broken down into sugars. Complex big molecules of carbohydrates are converted into simple molecules of sugar. Proteins are digested into amino acids. Please notify this thing. And fats are digested into fatty acids and glycerols. Matlab proteins, carbohydrates, and fats are big molecules which are digested into small molecules like sugars, amino acids, fatty acids, and glycerol. Further, beta third main intestinal glands are secrete third main juice, that is intestinal juice. जितने भी 95% of the food content is digested by the rest of the juices, but some of the material which is left, the remaining one, those carbohydrates, those proteins and fats are digested by intestinal juice. Now the food is will not be called as food, it will be called as digested food, and that digested food goes into the blood. That step is known as absorption. How? Let's go through that. In small intestine, beta, there are many finger like projections, and those finger like projections are called as villi. plural villi, singular villus. And why they are present? There are millions of villi present into the small intestine, and those villi, actually these are the inner skin of small intestine, which increases the surface area, so that more and more absorption of food can be done. And villi has blood vessels in it. The more is the amount of food absorbed by the villi, the more will be the amount of food goes into the blood. This is the main structure. You can go through it. This is the main structure of uh, intestine. Look at here, these are the villi, which are the actually inner skin, which is folded like finger like structures, projections. And these villi, this is the structure of one villi, which has rich blood supply. Through these cells, the food is absorbed into the villi, then it is sent into the blood vessels and blood supply. And when the food goes from the small intestine into the blood, this step is known as absorption of food. Now the food will not be called as digested food. Now it will be called as absorbed food, as it is in the blood now. As we all know, blood goes into the each and every part of the body, every part of the cell. In the same way, food will also go to every part of the cell. Look at this diagram. This is the diagram of a blood vessel. This blood vessel has food in it. G represents the glucose, the food in it. This blood rich in food is called as uh, uh, this food will be called as absorbed food. This absorbed food will go into the cell, and inside the cell it will be used for making energy. And this process of making energy inside the cell is known as inside the cell is known as respiration, and it is done through assimilation. When the digested absorbed food from the blood goes into the cell, it is known as assimilation. After the assimilation, the food is used in the body for energy making and bodybuilding. Beta ji, was the story of digested food. But what about the food which is not digested? The food which is not digested is termed as undigested food, and that undigested food goes into the large intestine. Let's go through that. Large intestine is also a type of tube, but it is wider and shorter than small intestine. You will see, ma'am, it is uh, called as large intestine. Then why it is smaller than small intestine? It is smaller in length but wider in width. It's 1.5 meter in length only, but its width is double than small intestine. That is why it is called as large intestine. And main function of this large intestine is to absorb extra water and minerals present into the undigested food. Better the food which is digested, that goes into the blood, but the food which is not digested, that comes here into the large intestine. From the large intestine, going through the various colons, ascending colon, transverse colon, descending colon, sigmoid colon, through it through these colons, the water and extra minerals present in the food, in the undigested food, is absorbed by the wall of large intestine and converts the food slowly and steadily into the solid waste, and that solid waste is called as feces. Those feces are temporarily stored here in the rectum and eliminated out through anus. And this step of eliminating the waste from the body is known as egestion. That means feces are temporarily stored into the rectum and removed out through anus, and this process is called as egestion. Let's go through a small video to understand the concept more. Thank you.